Okay. Wording.
Good. You guys ready? All right, folks, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Couple of ground rules again. Please silence your cell phones. We're going to give the audience an opportunity for public comment after each presentation. Please hold your comments until the planning commission goes through this. I'll announce when public comment is warranted. That being said, first point of action would be approval of the minutes from our October meeting. Do we have any corrections?
Well,
Get a motion to approve.
make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 14th meeting.
I'll second that.
We'll give that to Alex. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Action plans. Do we need to get an extension for,
We did get an extension yesterday.
Okay.
90-day extension for the,
All right.
Augustine Road project.
all right, anything else? That
No,
was it, right? Okay. All right, so our first applicant would be Kerr. You have a sketch plan?
Melissa Bogger from Horizon Engineering.
Use that microphone right in front of you there.
There you go.
What was your name?
Melissa Bodiger. Oh, sorry, Melissa Bodiger from Horizon Engineering. I'm here representing Mr. Kerr. He has a single-family residential dwelling located at 2730 Old Bethlehem Pike. The property is zoned PC2. He does have a internet business on his property where he does auto parts. Just himself, no employees, no retail store. He ships everything out. He would like to construct a pole barn for his personal use as an accessory to his residential primary dwelling. He currently has a boat, which he keeps in the one garage, and his personal mowers and child things and all of that he's going to relocate to the new residential pole barn. We are requesting a waiver of land development in lieu of so that we can just do a building permit. We're proposing no additional impervious surface. The pole barn will be constructed adjoining existing impervious, so it's just the pole barn only. No additional parking spaces. He's got a garage, his personal attached garage that his vehicles are in. So this would all be for his just accessory things that we all accumulate. So we would like to get the planning commission's blessing for a waiver of land development. And we are also, in that regard, requesting, we have asked for the stormwater management exemption because he does fall under the criteria of under the square footage in the ordinance, and the township engineer has noted all of that compliance in item number 9 of his review letter.
What would you consider this use under our use chart?
Well, it's not really an auto repair because he doesn't repair them. He takes them apart, ships out the.
Are you referring to the new building, planned new building?
The business that you have there.
The current pole building I have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking for the use of your business,
These
what
are-
it falls under.
so-
What do you actually do?
So I specialize in 1959 to 1967 Buick parts.
Okay.
So I'll buy a parts car, bring it in, strip all the parts off. They go on the shelf. I'll go on eBay. I have a couple local companies manufacture parts. I have a couple of like I'm a distributor for a couple of different manufacturers of pre-production parts. Parts come in, they go on the shelf, order comes in on the website through eBay, goes in a box, goes out through the post office or UPS. And that's what the current pole building there is for.
Steve, do you have an idea what use this would fall under?
No.
It's kind of that in between a few
Yeah.
different
I don't-
things, in
I don't
in
work on
between a
anyone's
non-destructive.
No one ever comes there.
It's
I
just-
mean,
I mean,
you know,
I'm seeing-
in auto parts, you know, if it was a A-plus auto parts, it would be a retail store.
Yeah.
Whether it's
mm,
sold on the internet or sold to
Right.
residents, customers coming in the door.
Right, but he doesn't have the customers coming in the
You
door,
have no.
But I don't know that it
has no
matters.
employees.
I mean,
Never,
I think it's still a retail type business.
Looking at the overhead, and I looked at it on maps, you know, I counted 22 cars outside.
Correct.
And you have no intention of putting these cars inside, and I guess that's part A, and part B is, are these cars allowed to be, that many cars allowed to be outside for your use? I think that's a determination by the zoning officer.
Well, yeah, you have an outdoor storage zoning use
Right.
requirements. It's an accessory use to
An
other
accessory use. All right,
other
gotcha.
commercial
Yep.
uses. And that has screening and buffering requirements in it of itself.
And you don't have any of that screening or buffering in place at this point.
I've never had since I.
Right.
yeah, yeah. If, I mean, we would, if
Be
we,
happy to
if we
work
would
with
get
you.
the exemption, we'd be happy to put
Figure something
screening
out.
in there from the neighbor. The neighbors' properties are also PC2, just
Yep.
and they are
I'm one of them.
residential. Yeah. Oh, you are? Okay.
You're only a couple houses down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, truth be told, I've never had any issues. I've never witnessed any impacts of your business there. But it's hard for, I mean, I know it's hard for our zoning officer to believe that this is just going to be used as a residential pole barn. And that's going to be the sticking point.
Understood. I mean, that's the
I mean,
complete
I can't
intent.
expand too any more than I am, and I'm just myself, and there's only so many hours you can work, and I have no intention of hiring an employee. I don't want to hire anybody else. And one of my main problems is I have a boat that I keep in my commercial building, and my boat insurance and commercial building insurance. Okay, if it ever burns, it's gonna be a major catastrophe on who's gonna pay.
And you live here, right?
I live there
Mhm.
full time, yeah, my wife and my 1-month-old son.
And you have attached garage to the residence?
Yes, yep, it's attached garage. to
And then you have the existing pole barn that you have your business in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was all there when I.
The intent,
You probably knew John Lipinski.
I did.
yeah. He intends to move the boat into the new pole barn, move all of
Trying
his
to move it.
mowers. And
my
all
personal
that kind of
out
stuff
my
like that.
current pole building into the new pole building, and I'm also trying to plan ahead for inheritance, as my dad has 2 collector cars that eventually, honestly, I'll probably inherit and would like to keep, but I want to put collector cars outside, and I have nowhere to put them inside with our 3 vehicles we currently own.
Well, we recently had a similar situation, almost, I don't want to say exact, but it was going to be storage of antique cars. And it's now 3 buildings or 2, at least 2 buildings that have been rented out. So we have some history with difficulties with this type of project.
Mm.
And that's,
I mean,
that again is a sticking point with our zoning officer.
yeah, I mean,
And I'm not completely clear of it myself.
and I have no interest to rent it out. I would
Again,
sign
but
anything I could to say I don't want to rent it out. I just want it for my own
you do,
storage.
too.
Yeah, I did.
Do you guys have any input or questions?
Steve, you have
I was just gonna say, the fact that he has personal vehicles in the commercial building that he's gonna be removing from the commercial building allows expansion of the business within the commercial building.
Right.
So, you know, it, like you said, it's not clear cut.
Correct. Obviously, if I take something personal, I put something else there. Good.
Right.
Obviously, I'm probably gonna put something else there in business wise, you know. But the way the economy's been, it's easier to buy 500 of an item instead of 100, but where do you put 500 little boxes like this when I'm working it under and over the boat that goes in October and comes out in April and walk around it all winter?
What's the size of your existing business building?
The current pole building is 40 by 60. And the new building to
Close to
fall
the same size.
is 40 by 56 to fall under that 5,000 square feet of impervious surface.
I don't think you did, but did you request a written zoning decision from the zoning officer? Did you make a zoning permit application and get a determination?
I thought we did, but let me check here real quick.
I'm just trying to figure out what this, like, had a pole building quote in 24 hours, but I don't know what it's gonna cost me to get there. And I'm just trying to figure out what budget wise. I don't want to pay more than the building cost, yeah. Which,
Yeah,
just trying to
he's-
determine what costs are within a budget.
You guys have any questions? Comments?
Any reason we wouldn't run through the letter quickly?
We can do that.
we can do that.
If it's on, unless you feel otherwise, let's do
It's
that.
typically what we do, but
Yeah.
just wanted to get some
Just some quick background.
questions
Yes.
asked and answered before we got going. So yeah, if you want to run through the review letter.
I'll
If it's a will comply, just say it's a will.
Yeah. I'll summarize on item one. Obviously, there are just talking about the uses and things like that, which I think we kind of have gone over.
Mhm.
Item two was our request for waiver of land development. Basically, that because they're saying they're considering it commercial. We're saying it's residential use. So that's really just a comment. Item three would be the buffering. Obviously, that would be requirement per the land development ordinance. We would be happy to do some buffering. I'm not sure the extent of there because they were talking about buffer yards, and it might be in a future comment. Buffering, providing screening along the roadway in the front yard. That's his house, and that. So I don't know. We would be happy to provide some around the commercial use. Forza will comply. Parking calculations, depending on what we come up with here as for a use, we don't, again, he doesn't have any employees. So we would have to talk to the zoning officer and see what they're suggesting in there. There will be no additional water or sanitary sewer facilities. Again, we have no employees. This is just Mr. Care by himself. So that is comment 6 is nothing. Street improvements. Obviously, if we have a waiver of land development, all that falls away. We would be requesting a waiver if necessary.
Steve, do we have any known issues in there? Road issues? Whether we had known issues, road or drainage issues out?
Not that I'm aware of at this moment.
Recreation land or fee in lieu of we are 2,000 square feet of new building area. So for $500, if we need to, we will comply with that. Stormwater management facilities, number 9, that was where we talked about getting the rate control exemption. We have, assuming what we're doing, we have no issue with the fee, the 750 plus 50 cents per square foot, providing that. Number 10, buffer landscape plantings along the outside storage area. Here is where they said along the street frontage. I would hope that we wouldn't have to do street frontage, but we, again, would. So we would probably ask for a waiver on some of that, but we would have no problem providing some along the commercial.
That was an overarching comment about landscaping and buffering So the street frontage was street trees. If it was a full land development plan, there would be street tree requirement, not necessarily buffer. Just
Gotcha.
to clarify.
Okay, great. Traffic impact study. Would be asking for a waiver on that since we aren't providing any new traffic. Don't have any employees. Number 12, that's just a comment. Preliminary submission requirements. 13, we would comply with. That would be for erosion control plan. Yeah, and 14 is a comment regarding if you would waive the road improvements of fee in lieu of.
Getting back to number 9.
Mhm.
What does this actually entail?
There's certain threshold limits in the stormwater ordinance. If you're under that limit for new impervious, you could qualify for an exemption, but the exemption comes with a contribution to the stormwater management.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, in a nutshell, that's what that's trying to say.
So you're
You don't have to
creating-
pay the fee if you do improvements.
Right.
If you want to use the exemption, you'd have to pay.
So you're at, what's your 2240 square feet?
Yeah, we've, since 2002, including the building, it would be 4,929 square
You
feet.
added that parking area to the
Yes,
north of.
yes,
the
because that
existing.
was after 2002. So
And
it, the contribution would end up, I calced it out, would be $3,214.50.
All right. Any other conversation here? Steve, you have anything to add?
Only that I think they do need to tie down what the use of the property is. with the
Right.
zoning officer. Hard to make a waiver determination if you're not 100% sure what regulations go along with the use. Whether it's multiple uses, whether it's
And I-
business in combination with a dwelling, is it retail sales? There's
Right.
a couple options that all have their own little idiosyncrasies of what the use
Before-
regulations are.
Before purchasing in 2012 from John Lipinski, I came in and talked to Mr. Lippincott to see before I bought it, this is what I do. And I think I think it was E11 Automotive Repair Shop and Retail.
Is that what he came up with?
I think that's the closest thing because of the cars. But I'm not really
Doesn't
on the
really-
repair.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
kind of like the insurance quote. It's not like, there's nothing on there that says like internet sales where you're
Yeah.
just- I'm basically like a
Right.
shipping warehouse in essence, comes in and it goes out. The car's only there to be taken apart to then ship out. So there really wasn't anything in your ordinances in 2012 that was.
There's nothing
The-
that covers that auto parts supply. Covers that.
but I think that, didn't that also have like and retail store or something like that? I'm
Yeah,
trying
well, it
to,
just says auto parts supply, is the business operated on the property, so I'm just saying, our zoning is there, anything that encompasses that.
yeah,
Well, we have the automotive repair shop and retail sales, but I don't know what, I'd have to look what it means by the retail sales.
Right.
If that's actually sales of automobiles or sales of parts. But I think that's what he's saying, the zoning officer shoehorned it in as.
I don't honestly
Years
remember
ago.
back, see if I don't honestly, my dad and I came in before I bought the property and I remember we met with Mr. Lippincott. and
Right.
That was it. And then they said, you're good, filled out paperwork and then they came out. I remember John had to put in a panic bar to apply for the use and occupancy permit and got it. And that was that. So I don't really honestly remember even the zoning person at that time.
What are you actually looking for tonight?
your blessing on, waiver of land development? So that we can just go to, do a building permit, do what we need to do for building permit, obviously work with the township engineer on that. And not have to go full blown.
How would you feel about tabling this for a month until you get some more clarification? I know you want to move forward.
I mean, I'm just trying.
We're just trying to dot the i's and
No, no,
cross
I
the
mean, if
Ts,
we have
because
to
we got
redo
burned
the
before.
zoning that we fall into, is that gonna change
Well,
land development per se? I mean, I only went by what the township put me in,
Right.
and
I'm just reading over to E11. I think that it probably is the appropriate use because there's the last sentence that says this use includes the retail sales of motor vehicle parts and accessories separate from an automotive repair shop.
Okay.
Well, that's
Yes.
essentially what he's doing.
Mhm.
Sounds accurate.
and it's, like I said, it's online.
Don't have foot
I don't really have a
traffic.
store, I don't have a storefront where you walk in and shop.
Right.
So,
So you just have delivery trucks coming in to pick up.
I mean, the
Like
post
UPS.
office picks up every day and I don't have UPS or FedEx, and I just drop it off. Go to the UPS store every day and drop it off.
Well, the sticking point is the zoning officer was pretty adamant about keeping this as a commercial building rather than residential.
I mean, my original thought was to add on to my existing house garage.
Right.
Like a year, like 6 months, 9 months ago, and I got a couple quotes from builders and it was astronomically high to add on to that building. So then I was like, what's a pole building cost? And it was a third to a quarter of the cost to add on to the existing garage.
Right.
So that's why I
Yeah.
went this route. And at the same time, if I were to go back and say, hey, let's add on to my existing garage, I'm gonna do land develop to add to my house.
Mhm.
Since I do live there, so that's where I pivoted from. I think the quote I got was like 200,000 add on to the garage. Where this pole building, I've gotten quotes between 60 and 80,000. So significant
Difference. Yeah.
difference. I'm working on a budget to do it, so that's why.
Sure.
But trying to be cost effective for the best building option.
It's my only concern is if the property were ever to be sold, that old building's still there, and is it residential at that point, or is that another commercial building at that point?
And am I correct to say, would that not then, that new person have to apply for a use and occupancy permit where you would then approve the use of that new business moving forward?
If they wanted to use both building as commercial.
Yeah, like they would have to apply to,
Honestly, I don't know how
Is
that
it,
would
I
work.
mean, is it
Yeah.
fair to project that way? I mean,
Yeah.
he's saying he's putting a building to put his boat in.
Right.
Period. You know, whether that results in the expansion of his business in the existing building. Okay. But for this specific building, it's a boat building.
It's a residential use.
It's a residential use.
And that's
Right.
what our buddy out here said too.
But not according to the zoning officer, correct? Based on discussion point number one.
What's that again?
Based on discussion point number one, this building is a non-residential structure, right?
That's what the zoning officer.
Right, right. So I mean, everything else in here kind of makes sense to me. It's discussion points number one and number two that I think we're being asked to make a determination on.
Right.
But there's some conflicts that, one way or the other, I think need to get worked out. I thought your request was reasonable to get more information before we.
Well, I think we clarified the use though. That was one of the hangups, was how this was actually classified.
we did try to apply, I believe, initially. Instead of like the 600 and the 3,000, that's where we tried for residential, and Mr. Lippincott said, no, your zone commercial.
Yeah.
You have
We
to
had
go commercial.
tripled the
Well, that's the other problem. You're in a commercial zone. now.
tripled the amount.
So
that
I
we
mean,
What
had
was
to-
it zoned when you moved in?
You guys just changed.
We had just changed it
6
to
months
PC2.
before.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I bought it on the premise that it was changed so that I could conform.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
you
you're
don't
a
be able
quote
to-
home business,
You wouldn't have been able to have this business under the RA. that
Right,
was-
right.
yeah,
Or is it RC? RC. Used to be RC.
I honestly don't know what it was, but I just know it changed before I purchased the property. I mean, and my correct to say is that anybody adding any additions to their house has to go through commercial permits from Ridge Road all the way to Rich Hill Road. And I mean, the majority of that street, other than yourself, myself, Laps, I don't think there's too many White Horse. There's a few businesses down towards Ridge Road, but not really up our way.
Right.
No, I
I'm just
agree.
I'm just curious. I mean, I know it's no commercial, but if you had a screened in porch on the back of your house, that's a commercial land development permit.
Yeah, that's well, the problem is you already have a commercial.
Well, yeah, correct. So I'm just.
Yeah,
that
the strictly residential uses, there's a caveat in the ordinance that allows anyone that had a existing residential use to expand or comply with essentially the old regulations.
Right.
Okay.
Right, we're at an accessory
But it-
building, yeah.
But it complicates it with having a commercial use on the property also.
Yeah, I thought the zoning, to my reading the zoning ordinance, yeah, it said it allowed the existing dwellings, the existing residential, obviously, to fall under the PC2 without prejudice, but that they were allowed to add accessory buildings. And that was 450-1001.
It's just unfortunate. We had the other experience here recently,
Yeah, exactly.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, what can we do to?
But I don't think you can
To
hold that
ensure-
against this person.
No.
I know, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's,
You'll disassociate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Guess I'm
True.
a little too late to try this.
right.
I'm saving to do this for years.
Yeah.
There's some way to guarantee that that's not going to turn into, you're not
Right.
going to expand your business into that. I mean, is there something we can do
Well-
to guarantee that?
But
Yeah.
if he chooses to do that at some point in time, then that would be a zoning violation that he would have to reconcile
Yep.
if he expanded his business.
Just because
Yeah,
they didn't tell anybody.
right.
Now we're going through legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Unfortunately, yeah.
I have compassion for your situation, believe me.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I'm just trying to figure out what it was, because
No,
obviously if you would go land development with the way
The costs just go crazy.
you're
Yeah.
well over $100,000 to build a
Yeah.
$80,000 building, which don't really want to take a loan out at 9%.
Makes the garage edition look better, huh?
Yeah.
Then are we at the same, then I'm going back to that going.
Probably we just attach a little piece of roof and
Yeah,
then put it
like,
there. Yeah. Technically, it's attached.
Yeah. Just trying to go the more economical route.
no, it's just,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just. and I
Very
don't
easy
know
to
what I
understand.
can and can't do, you know, so.
yeah.
no, I get it.
More of a carport and didn't have sides, would that change it at all?
You asking me?
Just throwing it out there, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, but again, you know, compassion for the situation here. And honestly, I would be in the same situation
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I
We're
get it,
just-
it's murky, you know?
Yeah, yeah. John, it sounds like you might be leaning toward, the waiver here.
Yes.
I would tend to lean that way too.
If we could just somehow secure a guarantee,
Well,
it would,
might I suggest that if you were inclined to make a motion for a waiver, that you would conditional upon him meeting the outside storage and use regulations, which would be the screening
The buffer.
for that. Yeah, so it would be in compliance with the zoning. And, you know, you could request a covenant, you know, record something, a covenant for the property that restricts use of X, Y, or Z building on the property. That would be the legal way that the township would approach it.
Not a deed restriction, just a covenant,
It'd just be, yeah,
just during
it,
his.
it would be a
During his-
separate, it
yeah.
would be a separate thing recorded on a property that says, so if someone purchasing the property did a title search, they would find a document that says you can't use this building for
Right.
commercial unless you got
Unless you-
appropriate approvals from the township.
Yeah, yeah,
And they could.
that makes sense.
I don't know. that's
Right.
okay,
Without-
whatever it does.
without-
Yeah. I mean,
That, if you want some type of restriction, that's typically the way the township would,
Right.
the mechanism that the township would
The
use.
screening you're talking about is in this, basically this location, from where this is the commercial. So do some screening of.
Well, I think you want to
Some
hide
kind.
the, all the automobiles.
Yes,
I know my-
yes,
I
that's
know-
what I mean.
I know my
from-
neighbor that wants to
Like
put a
from his
fence in.
garage back in here,
Right.
so.
So I said to him, he had said, I guess he had contacted Township about putting a fence, and I said, well, why don't you wait? So I had a feeling I may have to do something like, he wants to put a fence in for his dogs, because they're on my property more than his. So he was trying to do something like from here all the way up into the front corner of his house, possibly over and almost all the way back to 309, so. I mean, if we put a 6-foot high wood fence up,
I don't know what,
I don't know what they're gonna require, but I mean,
what
cars,
the
they're all cars, they're not SUVs, so.
acceptable, buffering is for that. That's something you can work out with.
We can work that out with, with your engineer.
Well,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in general, it's a 6-foot high visual screen.
Yeah,
Or 6 to 8 foot, I think is the way the ordinance reads. But
yeah, so either fence.
It's a stockade type fence.
It's over 7, you gotta get some type of special permit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'd be inclined to go the suggested route of Steve's. I don't know how we put that all together. You're gonna comply to the buffering.
Somebody left their lights on in a
Oh.
classic BMW.
A BMW out there with the lights on? Hopefully it doesn't have a class.
That means it won't turn off.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you know what, before we take any action, let me open the floor to public comment. Does anyone have any comment on this project? If you do, raise your hand, let me call you out and you're gonna come up and talk in the microphone. All right, seeing none, we'll move forward. All right, so how do we want to put this together?
I'll make a motion that we waive land development
Request,
Okay,
or, yeah, not request,
Recommend.
Recommend.
Thank you.
recommend we waive land development contingent upon a covenant added to the property saying that this is for residential / personal use only and not for a commercial building. And that the buffer requirements of the ordinance are met.
Along this property, correct?
Right, not including street trees.
Yeah.
And it's wooded on the other side. On Fair and On, I planted 100 Arbor Day trees just for my own screening. You know, I'm trying to plant trees there. They just, the deer keep killing them.
They're tough in the area.
It broke 4 this fall already.
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. All right, so
Thank you.
where do you go from here? I don't know. Well, good luck.
Yeah, now we have to go see-
Keep the noise down.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is the select property rough track. All right.
Good evening.
Go
My
ahead.
name's Kevin Riley. I'm here with Brian Grant. We're representing Select Properties. Unfortunately, our engineer and our lawyer both had conflicts this evening, so we're representing the company without our professional consultants. But we're just here for a sketch plan review. This is our very initial submission. We have not gone through any engineering design. We have not gone through any other outside agency approvals. Like I said, this is the very first meeting. As we move forward, there will be, many more meetings as we go through the land development stage. This property is located at 223 Ridge Valley Road and also at 1314 Lawn Avenue. It's two properties. It has frontage on each road. It combines for about 21 acres of property. The property is zoned VR, Village Residential. And what we're proposing is the by right use of the B1 single family detached dwelling. We are proposing 28 lots with the required open space of 40%, which is over 7 acres of open space proposed. We are proposing a private road. I believe, very sure it's going to be a private road, HOA owned and maintained, not a public road. It's in conformance with the village residential standards, 26-foot wide cartway and a 46-foot wide right-of-way. We're proposing sidewalks on either side of the road. We're proposing walking trails around the perimeter of the property, in the rear of the property, along the property lines. Again, no full engineering yet, but it looks to be that the low point of the site is adjacent to Lawn Avenue. We're proposing a 1 acre basin in that area. Again, not designed yet, just what makes sense as far as the low point of the site. We're proposing 12,000 square foot lots, about a quarter acre, 2-car garage, 2-car driveway. The lots are 70-foot wide with 10-foot side yard setbacks, which basically would permit a 50-foot wide building footprint, which is what most of the builders are looking for now in order to do, their high-end home, whether that's $700,000 or upwards of $1 million. I don't know, but that's generally the market. I guess it would be similar to the project in East Rock Hill on 3 Mile Run Road, that Keystone Homes is currently building. That would be, if people wanted to go by, I guess that would be a good example of what we're proposing at this project. We are proposing public water and sewer to be provided by the Percy Regional Authority via our proposed Lawn Avenue project. We have a pump station up on Mountain View Road proposed, so all the sewage would go there and the water would loop around to that project as well and be provided by Percy Regional Authority. I believe that is the summary of what we're proposing. We did receive a review letter from Steve. We can go through it in detail if we want. We can also take questions at this point if you like as well.
You guys have any questions before we run through the review letter?
Could you go through the high level numbers again? What's the total size of the building area?
The lots are 12,000 square foot.
What's
The building is generally about 2,000 square feet,
higher up? What's the total land area that you're developing?
21 acres.
21 acres.
Yeah, the two properties together combined for 21 acres, over 7 acres of which will remain open space. I did forget to mention that there is a PP&L right of way through the property that shows. And there are no houses proposed through that. And one of Steve's questions was a good one, whether or not we removed that right away from our site capacity calculations. And I talked to my engineer this morning and he said, yes, we did. So that came out of the site capacity calculations.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just one more question on the houses that are on the right-hand side, the driveway, it looks like on the top and on the bottom where does it go after? Where it shows in the white, but then it kind of stops there.
Those are stub roads, and we're probably looking for feedback, coming in with a sketch plan. That would be either for future development of the property next door. If that were to ever happen, we don't know. We don't have any agreement or anything on that. And it's also, your ordinance has some talk of block length issues. So we're looking at that to break up the block length of the road. So we would take some feedback on that as well.
All right, why don't you run down through the review letter, please?
Sure. Number one is just a note that we comply with the proposed use and lot size. Number two is a discussion item. Steve notes that the existing stone farmhouse could be historic and should be investigated. We have not done any of those investigations, but we will do so, whatever's required by state and local ordinance. This initial plan does propose to remove that farmhouse and propose a new house on that lot. So we'll dig further into that. We talked about number three, that the PP&L right of way that did come out of the easement. Number four talks about the open space design and requiring potential for passive park and other items. It does say a walking path is proposed looping around the rear of the proposed dwellings throughout the open space, and the township could consider if other features are desirable in the open space. Steve asked for the proposed ownership and maintenance responsibility of the open space and the pedestrian path, and that will all be owned and maintained by an HOA that will be formed. So the township won't have any maintenance responsibilities for the road, the sidewalks, or any of the walking trails or the open space. 4C, I believe, and Steve, jump in if I ever miss anything. Whether or not the road is to be dedicated, and it's not, it would be an HOA road. On a private street, we would propose to meet the township standard where it's 26 foot wide. We would like to park on one side of that street. So that would give us, plenty of overflow parking for visitors. We could sign it so they can only be parked on one side of the street. 4D, I think it's just a will comply with our 2-car garage and 2-car driveway. 4E would be something that we'd like to discuss, but we would probably ultimately have to comply with that. The ordinance requires that the garage recess back 10 feet from the face of the house, and that no greater than 25% of the total area is garage, and no garage door may exceed 12 feet. No builders want to see that. Everyone we talk to, they don't like it, but it is in your ordinance. I don't think any homeowners would really like it either if it was something that was written in your ordinance. So that'd be something we would take feedback on as well. 4F is that sidewalks are proposed on both sides of the street, and 4G requests that we submit the plan to the Bucks County Planning Commission, which we have, and we have not received a review letter yet back from them. Number 5 requires a full traffic impact study that we would comply with at land development. Number 6 states that Ridge Valley Road is a state road and that we would need a highway occupancy permit from PennDOT, and we would comply with that. 7, I guess, is a question that I have that, as I state and Steve stated as well, is that this project is in proximity to our Lawn Avenue project across the street. And there are several adjoining driveways. And I guess my question is that it says the proposed street may not make the adjoining property non-conforming with yard setbacks.
The intent of that was, I couldn't tell exactly where the street right of way was in comparison to the adjoining property boundary. If your street right of way is up against the property boundary, that makes a front yard setback on that adjoining property.
Okay.
So you can't turn that property non-conforming by making it have a front yard setback on that. So,
Is it this property?
yeah, that's the one that looked like it
Okay.
could be impacted by the placement of the road.
Okay. We'll look into that. We discussed number 8 about the 2 dead end streets. I think that was more, we're looking at that as a block length issue in your saldo. We'd be happy to remove those little stubs from the plan if the planning commission recommended that. Number 9 states that we need approval from PP&L. We know that we've reached out to them as far as getting their requirements. So we've designed around that, but we have not submitted to PP&L yet. We would do that at land development. Number 10 discusses stormwater management, excuse me. And we would do full stormwater management design at land development. Number 11 talks about sewer service and being in Percy Regional Authority's sewer service area. We coordinated with them and we have had a pre-application meeting with Percy Regional Authority. We've shown them the plan. They are ready and willing to serve us when Lawn Ave gets developed.
Did you mention that this is going to go to your proposed pump station?
Yes.
Has there been any discussion with homes in the area that might be in need of public sewer?
Well, we've talked to a few neighbors from the Lawn Avenue project about tying them in, yes. But we have no other, as far as this project, no, we have not talked to any neighbors. This is our first time meeting anyone out in public.
Right. Is that something you can do? I mean, it seems if we're going to have sewer there, let's take care of the people that need it.
Yeah, I guess if everything is up for discussion, sure. It's just question proximity, where does it start? Where does it stop?
Right.
But we could have those discussions. Number 12 is also the water supply. Again, that's Percy Regional Authority. That would tie into our Lawn Avenue project. 13 is a discussion item about street improvements. Obviously, your ordinance requires that Lawn Ave and Ridge Valley Road would have to be widened and improved, and we would meet those requirements. Or if you preferred a waiver and a contribution in lieu of those street improvements, we would be open to that discussion as well. 14 states that we must notice adjoining property neighbors when we go in for land development, and we will do that. 15 requires a narrative summary of the project at land development, and we will do that. 16 discusses recreational land at 1,400 square foot per dwelling, which is under an acre. That'd be 39,000 square feet. Recreational facilities could include a play field, a tot lot, or a playground. And the preliminary plan should include a recreation details. That would be at land development. And, just being honest now, we would probably like to have a fee in lieu for that and look for a waiver. If you've directed us that we had to do it, we would do it. But we don't think that 28 single family homes, that facility would be used very frequently. But again, we're open to whatever you folks want us to do. Number 17 states that landscape plans are required at land development, and that is will comply. And number 18, type 1 separation buffers are required between non-residential and residential uses. I don't think that we have a buffer requirement, Steve, unless you see somewhere that we would. I believe that we're proposed single family, and everything around us is also single family. So that would just be a question.
That was just in case comment, depending on the ultimate use on the property.
Yep. Thank you. Number 19 is E&S and NPDS permits are required at land development. That's a will comply. And then we would need a waiver request letter if we ask for any waivers from the saldo. And then up to 21A, Steve rightfully asks about the site capacity calculations because they reference the RA district. The site capacity calculations were done based on the VR district, and it's just a typo from the engineer. I confirmed that today. And then just the B, C, and D are all will comply as far as plan presentation, North Arrow, graphic scales, and note the method of water supply, sewage disposal, and stormwater on the plan.
You had an issue with the garage setback. Being that it's a zoning issue, you'd have to get the relief. Waiver relief,
If we decide to do that,
right?
yeah.
And you have other plans that have that same, gonna have that same issue.
Other zoning districts, yes. Other
Other-
plans in the
in
VR
the-
zone, yes. Yep. We have talked to builders. Builders do have some similar product, and these are desirable locations. So if we were forced to go in that route, we just would. We would set the garage back 10 feet from the face of the house, even though it's very unique.
All right, any discussion?
Here's my comment would be, when we started looking at the property across the street, we asked to see how this was all going to be sewered and kind of request a master plan of sewering for this, the Mountain View properties. And I think even the one across the street on the other side of, Ridge there, right? The townhouses there.
Yeah, but not only that, but traffic studies. This, with everything you've got on the books right now, but this is like, what's that? This is the fourth plan in this area? Yeah, a master plan with traffic studies as well as the sewer and watering. 200 homes all funneling in right there. You can only imagine the traffic issues that are going to come up. And I think we requested this a long time ago before this project came on the books to see it as one big project, just to get a feel, more than a feel, to get the idea of what the traffic's going to be and what the traffic study folks are going to come up with.
We are working on that. We are talking to township staff, as far as, full traffic studies. And we'll be continuing to talk to staff. Again, this project and the project we're going to talk about, as soon as we're done with this, again, very initial, they're sketch plans, just basically letting everyone know that these properties are, slated for development by us. That is our vision for the properties. And we're just looking for very initial feedback. We do appreciate that as far as looking for a master plan and look at traffic impacts for all the projects.
And the property to the, what would that be, south of you, that is being considered for future development? How close are you to that?
No contact. Actually, I'll just be honest, not no contact. We sent a letter months and months and months ago, no response from the homeowners.
The other thing about coordinating part of the big picture is I recommend that they talk to the park and rec people, because I don't think we need 23 tot lots in this area. The part of the master plan should be resource protection at the holistic level. We got all these little fragments of open space, various intents of usage.
Right.
But I think that they need some sort of a coordinated plan for how all that would fit together into something that makes sense for the community.
Yeah, I agree.
The other thing I'm curious about is what other properties you own or have under agreement at this point in this area.
I could give you the list. I think that I think everything has been submitted. Right, Brian? I don't think there's anything that,
For now.
yeah, there's nothing else under agreement or anything like that that hasn't been submitted.
All right. So you're just presenting this tonight, looking for some feedback, and that's it for now?
That's it for now, yes.
All right. I'm going to open the floor to public comment. Please raise your hand, Dave.
All right, Dave Rice, 219 Augustine. So again, like John was saying, where is the overall West Rock Hill plan? Whether it's broken down by zones, VC, VR, however it's broken down, where's the overall plan? This is the planning commission. Where's the overall plan? We have the engineer here. because as you said, there's 200 homes that are proposed. I believe the plan should include at minimum, but not limited to the following. I'd like to see us use and implement a development impact fee on all housing units developed in the VC and possibly VR based on the findings of the study leading up to the final plan. Simply put, to offset the cost to residents who will be directly impacted by this obnoxious amount of development. The development impact fees would cover infrastructure and traffic safety plans and build out, traffic congestion, turning lanes, additional traffic light costs, stormwater management plans and build out, school district concerns of overcrowding plans and costs, fire and police department understaffing concerns with costs, emergency medical services, understaffing concerns and costs. I'm sure there are many others that I didn't include in this list. I honestly don't see why the plan is so difficult. I've been a member of the Park and Rec for 16 years and the last 6 years as chairman. And we have all of our events documented with schedules, details to who takes care of what at each event, down to the weather at each event. We have a tree park plan. We have a bench park plan. I don't understand what's so hard that we can't just have a plan so we can see how it all ties together, because it does impact every resident that's going to be going through that. And if you go back to, interesting enough, to the West Rock Hill comprehensive plan, right here. I'll just read it real quick. It says West Rock Hill and the surrounding municipalities. So that's surrounding municipalities. That's not just including West Rock Hill. Gained about 3,400 housing units and 10,000 people during the years 2000 2010. And West Rock Hill Township gained only 440 new housing units and 1,000 people. The township is projected to gain 1,060 people from 2015 to 2035. We're dead center in the middle of that. And 160 housing units. We're over that with just this one bit of, well, from one developer. And you know there's proposed about, what, 800-900 on the books that are proposed or in the works or at some point. So I just want to see, I want to know why we haven't implemented development impact fees and when we're going to do that, because I'd like to see that move forward so that way we offset the cost to the residents. I don't want to see the residents, you know, get taxed to death or be inundated with these infrastructure costs. I don't think it's fair. And personally, I don't want to see it, you know, I don't want to see West Rock Hill grow up to be a Doylestown. It's just not right. We're West Rock Hill. We're here for a reason. I don't want to see it pushed through. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Give your name and address, please.
Oh, my name is Rick Ian.
Well, come up.
The microphone, please.
You have to come up to the mic. I'm sorry.
I'm on Lawn Avenue
You're on the north
beside.
side of the proposed stormwater management there?
Yeah, which is interesting because the original plans that got slipped through a year or so ago showed, I think, 7 homes there. There was more homes. And it was included as part of the subdivision
Right.
process. So that's changed. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple concerns is why the basin there instead of down where there's no neighbors. There's nobody to see it. It's much less impact. To be clear, I'd be a hypocrite to say I poo-poo development. My last 30 years have been in land surveying, engineering for developers. So I have a very good handle on this. Is all this to drain to that basin? Okay,
Schematic design, we haven't designed it yet, but that's the thought.
is stormwater testing been done through?
No.
Okay, that's it, is it won't pass anything. I can tell you that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Brian, come on up.
Brian Landis, Augustine Road. So just a question, in the comprehensive plan, there's 3 regions. There's a development area, a rural holding area, and a resource protection area. So the way that is we're supposed to develop the development area and we shouldn't be moving into the rural holding area until development is filled, is what it says. The development that they said that they're going to do first, this ties into the lawn. So that northern part that runs from lawn to Mountain View to Forest is in the rural holding area. So I'm wondering why we're allowing that to proceed if we haven't yet filled out the development area, because that's what it states in the comprehensive plan. And then secondly, just to kind of put things in perspective, the tie into Dave, West Rock Hill, this is just to kind of set the concerns about how much is happening in a small area. West Rock Hill's 16.3 square miles. What Select is proposing to do in basically a half square mile represents 3% of all of West Rock Hill. And in that small area, the growth that they're proposing represents an 8.5% growth of households for all of West Rock Hill, represents a 7.5% growth of West Rock Hill population in 0.5 square miles. It represents a 6% growth in traffic on the ridge based on a traffic camera, just in that area. And based on information from the Pedridge website, it creates a 1.2 million deficit draw on the school system, assuming that every household has half a kid. So that's just a lot that happens in a very, very condensed area. Without the traffic study, without the runoff studies, it just seems like there's just too much going on in one area without all the other ancillary studies that have to take place. This isn't spread out over 16.3 square miles. It's in a half a square mile area. So just a bit of a concern there.
Thank you. Yes.
Mary Ann Wilson, 500 Joanna Drive. My house was built by Select Properties 33 years ago. Exactly. We have an HOA. We plow our own road. I'm wondering if this new HOA is going to be responsible for from Lawn all the way to Ridge Valley, because I can tell you how hard it is to find a contractor to plow a road. We have been calling all over the place right now. Everybody's like getting rid of their equipment. It's too expensive. Nobody wants to do it. And I've already said that over my dead body, will that road be dedicated? It's just not going to happen because there'll be too much development behind us. Brian knows what I'm talking about. I just want to know if these houses are going to be looking at, I'm just speaking from the heart here. If you're looking at $700,000 to $1 million for these houses, are these garages on the front of the house? So you're going to get to look at them when you're pulling up? Because that's downright ugly. Who's going to pay that much for a house with an ugly garage sitting in the front? You like to be able to pull around, hide the garage doors, and when you're paying that much money. Just a thought, which means you're going to lose the number of houses that you can put in there. Also, if the HOA is going to be responsible for that walking path too, like shoveling it all winter long?
Yeah,
And-
they won't get shoveled.
I like to walk in the winter. It's my favorite time of year. It's like, it's not hot. But anyway, and then again, a mother of 3 grown children now, how I would have loved to have had a tot lot close instead of having to stick them all in the car, drive down to the park, get them out of the car. By then we're all sweaty anyway. And they're like, oh, let's go home after 20 minutes. So a tot lot is like, when you've got that many houses, my son's in a development like this. They wish they had a tot lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You're next.
Hello, Brian Murray, 211 Ridge Valley Road. I'm right here. Sorry, I came in late. Is the original house going to be torn down?
That is our intention.
All right.
That's our intention.
It was built in 1800. It's all original still. I think that should be something that you guys look into, Historical Society should look into to make sure that that is preserved. That should not be torn down. That would be a travesty. This is also, the whole property is, I forget which document it is. I think it's on the Conservation Committee's document, but it's rated as one of the most historically preserved properties because of the home and the pasture behind it. There's been little change since basically, the building of that home, of what that vista looks like. So for whatever that's worth. What else? Are we counting open space for the power lines? No. Okay, cool. And just for the record, like I'm not anti-development. Like I know like it does have to happen sometimes, and it just needs to be incremental and slow. And I think that like planning commission, the developer, the township, maybe like talk, and I think allow, maybe more dense development in a small area so that they could, but then as a trade-off, they have to preserve more open space. I think that like you could, just an idea, you could put like 10 townhouses right here, 10 townhouses right here, or maybe 15, whatever. And you can preserve this whole field, which is a beautiful field. There's an albino deer out there right now, just so you know, pretty sweet. We've been feeding it. I just really think that there could be, Larry David said a good compromise is where both parties are equally unhappy, right? So like, I think that like we could figure out a compromise that more open space preservation for all residents and all wildlife to enjoy, a little bit more dense development in small spaces. I don't know. Just trying to think outside the box here, because I know that you guys have property rights just like you and me, right? But I really don't want to see our township's rural character change. I know single family homes are the most land consumptive type of development that exists. We have plenty of single family homes in our township. I don't think we need any more. Just put a couple townhouses in small areas and preserve all this beautiful open space for us. That'd be awesome. Gosh, one more thing. I'm sorry. Development can, I think, like make like some areas more beautiful if you do it more beautifully. And I would challenge you to, whenever you do build stuff, get a better builder than like DR Horton, because they stink. And the development in East Rock Hill you guys did was, I know you didn't build it and stuff like that, but it's just really ugly. And I know someone who lives in that development. There's already problems with that house. And anyway, that's it.
Thank you.
Hi, Amy Pacone, 52 Hathler Road. I spoke last month. I had no intention of speaking again today, but I just wanted to plug one thing. First of all, thank you guys for saying you're looking for a holistic plan. That's something I'm concerned about as well. And in regard to the traffic, which is one of my biggest concerns. So I mentioned this last month that I requested the traffic study, and I was provided a copy of it by the township in the spring. It was from 2023. And I realized, I think we all know that's outdated. At this point, you're proposing many more units, but in that survey, some of the on-ramps were already at level of service E, considered limit of acceptable delay, indicative of poor progression in 2023 based on your numbers, and now you have many more units proposed. And so just flagging that as like, I realize that's the limit of acceptable, but I'm hoping we can do better than that. And I'm hoping we can identify concerns now rather than later and say it's too late now, we're living in like a traffic nightmare. So I just wanted to flag that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had one more question.
Yep. What's your name? Come up to the microphone, please.
Rick Yandrick from Lawn Avenue, again, beside the basin. What other properties does Select own?
Where are these roads to nowhere going here? And this was the Bradley piece, right? Which you also own, Select owns?
Not that I know of.
Okay. So there's nothing under agreement for these where the roads,
We own on the other side of Lawn Avenue.
I know that.
Yeah,
So you don't own any of this yet?
correct.
Nothing under agreement?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm just wondering why usually when a developer goes to the expense of this, getting the curb cuts and everything, there's a plan. So I was just curious.
We're happy to remove it. It was,
Oh,
it was a question of block line, breaking up the road.
Anyone else? All right. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to get a couple of things. Gwen Jordan, 1030 Valley Road. You had mentioned about the garage and driveway ordinance. It's there for a reason. Leave it, make them deal with it. The stormwater runoff, what they're doing to the people that live there now is terrible. If that's what they're doing to the people that live there now, can't imagine what they're going to do in the rest of the stuff, because to put a stormwater thing next to somebody's house, would you want to live next to that? No. The open space, I'm sorry, Marianne, but I think it should be left undeveloped. We have wildlife there. They need it. We don't need a tot lot. We have parks. The animals need the area, not us. The homes should try to be put in a way that we optimize the most of the open space. Don't put it around it. Put it in like an area where it's a block of it, which is what this young man was saying in front of me here. And I think that was all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Okay, moving forward. You want to get up to the podium again, or? So, I mean, we've heard what you got. Steve, do you have any other input on this?
No, just to agree with, some of the things that were said tonight, and particularly what the planning commission had asked for, the more unified overall plans. I think that would be beneficial for everyone, moving forward.
So that's good direction, and we'll follow that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of time to study this plan. I was out last week.
It's a sketch.
Yeah.
It's very initial.
So, I mean, is there any other input that anyone wants to give from the planning commission? All right. All right, and we'll move forward.
Thank you.
You got it. So you're just gonna stay there for the next one?
Yeah. Just write a note.
Good to go?
Ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, this is project number 2 by Select tonight, and also in the same exact stage as the previous project, where we're just in here for a sketch plan. I believe it's although we've submitted a couple iterations of a sketch plan, I don't think we've come before the planning commission for this project yet. We've been trying to fine tune it and try to more meet the spirit of the VC zoning district, Village Center. So this site, we call it the Almont property. However, it does not have frontage on Almont Road. It has frontage on Ridge Road and Lawn Avenue. The site is zoned VC Village Center, whereas it's required to be a minimum site area of 3 acres and a max of 10 acres. And we are just shy of that 10 acres. Our property is about 9.5 acres. We have some existing houses and businesses along Ridge Road that will remain. We are proposing 44 townhomes. They're 22-foot wide by 40-foot deep, 3-story slab-on grade product, all loaded by rear-loaded alleys and rear-loaded garages. with decks off of the kitchens on the second floor over the driveways, backing up to the alleys. We've worked through this plan, and I do understand we still have some more work to do, but what we've come up with to as our best attempt to meet the design intent of the Village Center District is to front the townhomes on a central common green with sidewalks out front, probably low-level stormwater management, out front, 1 or 2 foot deep. We are proposing 2-car garages, 1-car driveways, and we have overflow parking in the back with the private alleys. We're proposing our main entrance, again, 26-foot wide cartway and 46-foot wide right-of-way out to Ridge Road. We do understand the challenges with that and that there are site distance issues. We've had our traffic engineer go out there and look at all the different locations for an entrance on from Ridge Road. And this is the one that he has identified to have the safe stopping site distance that's required by PennDOT. So we did, it wasn't a traffic study. It was a stopping distance analysis by our traffic engineer that was submitted with this sketch plan because we knew that was a comment. Previous iterations of the plan had full access or right turn right out on Lawn Avenue. We've decided to eliminate that and make it a 15-foot wide emergency access drive only out to Lawn with the main access out to Ridge. This is generally vacant ground right now. We are proposing public water and public sewer to this project, but through Telford Borough Authority. Water and sewer is now in Almont Road and along Almont Road to the intersection of, water is at the intersection of Almont and Ridge. Sewer ends at Almont after it went under Route 309. So those facilities are owned by Telford Borough Authority. The water, I guess, is North Penn Water Authority, and they're going to bulk sale to Telford Borough Authority. There are issues with the public water and sewer with Telford Borough Water Authority. I think the Planning Commission probably understands it even better than we do, in that a service agreement has to be worked out with Sellersville Borough. And then also after that, an agreement with West Rock Hill Township to service this, I believe, is Region 2, whereas only Region 1 is open right now. We've had multiple staff meetings with Telford Borough Authority to talk about the ways to bring public water and sewer to this site. So we're working through that. Again, the site is not engineered in any way. This is our initial sketch plan. The townhouse use is by right in the VC zoning district. Our bulk requirements, for the most part, we're meeting all the requirements of the Village Center. We have to provide 25% open space, which is greater than 2 acres of the site, and we're providing that. I think that's the summary. I'm happy to answer questions of the board, and then we can go through the review, Steve's review letter as well, and then we'll hear from the public again.
Where was your original access to Ridge Road, or didn't you have one on the previous plan?
We had it, I believe, much further away from the intersection, at the what I'll call the southern edge of the property. And I believe we had a site distance problem there. We moved it because of the restaurant, not being able to see past the restaurant, looking to the right. Can we just real quickly go to is there another slide? I believe there's one more. If it didn't make it, it's okay. That's okay. It was just an architectural elevation. There's a project by Lennar in Plumstead Township on Stump Road. And we would be trying to use that as an example as a guideline. That's it. Yep, that folks can look at it. The front loaded out to a center courtyard area. That was submitted, and that we were going to show that if available, but that's the proposal.
All right, you guys have any questions before we go through the review?
No.
All right, why don't you, go ahead.
Once again, I'd like to see a comprehensive plan showing this and all of your other developments going through Telford Borough Authority and how that's all going to be interconnected with public utilities.
Agreed.
That's it
Okay.
for me.
Moving on to the review letter that Steve issued. Number one, under discussion, he just said that the street has been relocated to the outside of the units. The Ridge Road access has been relocated closer to lawn. The open space area remains in the center of the units, and we're proposing 44 units now. Number two is just again comment that it's a townhouse dwelling units use B4 is a permitted use in the VC zoning district. The lots are configured so that the front of all dwelling units are facing the center open space with the rear yard along the street. This configuration provides rear entry garages consistent with the VC zoning design standards, which was one of Steve's prior comments that we tried to comply with. These are proposed to be 0 lot line homes, but we do have to show that they comply with a minimum of 1,800 square feet per lot. This, of course, will also be all private roads, HOA owned and maintained open space, no maintenance responsibility on the township as well. Number three, Steve talks about the open space and whether certain areas should be removed from it. He's asking for clarification from the design engineer that for the 25% of the base site area, and we'll provide that at land development. And actually, I'm probably going to have my engineer reach out to Steve so they can get on the same page before we move into land development on that comment. Number four are comments related to the VC zoning district. Open space. Same comment about trails, commons, passive park, or similar features. Steve notes that a 4-foot sidewalk is proposed looping around the front of the proposed units and throughout the open space to Lawn Avenue. A little difficult to see on this plan, but we do have additional 4-foot wide sidewalk or walking trail that we're proposing along this open space and out to Lawn. We could also add sidewalks out to Ridge if that was requested. 4B, we touched on that it's all going to be HOA maintained. HOA documents are required, and we'll provide those at land development.
Hey, folks, can we keep chatter now, please? Thank you.
We talked about the road, a required cartway of 26 feet with a 46-foot wide right-of-way, which we are providing for the entrance from Bridge Road. We may not show the 46-foot wide right-of-way. That probably has to be added to the plan. The internal loop streets are identified as private alleys and are designed to be 16-foot in width with perpendicular parking areas and no right-of-way designated. No sidewalk is proposed along the alleys. It says that the corresponding that curb is not proposed. I believe that would be discussion item, but I think we'd be fine with proposing curb. I don't think we're trying to get away from that, right, Brian? I think curb would be okay in the alleys, parking areas. Yeah, we could discuss that. 4D is a discussion item and probably one of the larger issues. And I'd love to further discuss it with Steve and basically I'd like for my attorney to discuss it with the solicitor about whether this plan does not propose a public to have the houses front on a public street. And Steve brings that up as a potential issue that definitely needs to be worked out. And we acknowledge that the houses are not fronting on a public street. They're fronting on a public courtyard with a rear alley. So that's definitely a discussion item. if we were to propose the public street, everything would be pushed further, be added impervious. We don't think we need it. We think that this is good design. However, it may not meet the letter of your ordinance. So we're open to a further discussion on that as well. That's probably the largest issue in the review letter.
So if the UPS guy, where does he go when he wants to drop off a package?
Right. He would loop around. You would come in and he would be able to loop around all this. It's a 16-foot wide cartway. We have to show that a fire truck can get through. We have to show emergency vehicles can get through. So yeah, it would be no problem.
So how does he get to somebody's front door? If there's no street in front of the houses?
He would just drop the package at the back door, or he could walk through. Obviously, we can have sidewalks coming through in between the units if he wants to walk around. That doesn't show now, but we're happy to add that. 4E is the minimum parking, which we meet. 4F is we believe that Steve is asking for an 8-foot wide path. So I think that we have to change that 4 foot to 8 foot. I think the ordinance requires that.
And before you keep going, back to D with this internal road. I mean, Steve, is this pretty much a solid point that our ordinance shows that we have to have this, these homes have to
The ordinance requires is all properties are front on a public street.
Right.
So, not that it's a good example, but you might say the townhouse is at on the other side of Lawn Avenue. Ridge and Lawn property that we looked at months or years ago.
Mhm.
It doesn't have this internal loop, but it was a similar setup where it was an alley behind the units. The difference there was the units fronted on Lawn Avenue and Ridge Road. So they were public streets.
Right.
That would be the difference between that plan and this plan.
Sure.
But yes, there's provisions in the zoning ordinance and it's not something that you could waive.
The other question I have is, doesn't this violate our, yeah, well, not cul-de-sac, but whatever, P loop or whatever?
Then with
Yes, if that was, all the street standards were applied to it, yeah, that would come into play also.
Yeah, so you'd need a lot of relief to get this plan through.
And that would be, we need a 26-foot wide street, right? For the 28 foot.
No, 26 foot.
There's a lot going on here. There are different street standards in the village than there are in the other parts of the township.
4G talks about building design standards and landscaping and all those things we provide during land development. And then 4H was submit to the Bucks County Planning Commission. We have done that, and we received their review letter as well. Number 5, as I read along, the plan should clarify the disposition of the existing homes along Ridge Road, and it notes that the mobile home that was there has been removed.
Is that the only demolition?
That's the only demolition that's been done, and I also believe the only demolition that is proposed. Everything else would remain.
So the properties that you purchased where the entrance is, there's nothing on those properties right now.
My understanding is there's nothing on the
I don't
property.
think there is.
Yeah, that's open.
I
right.
can't tell where the lines are when I'm
Yes.
standing there.
There's not.
So correct me if I'm wrong, there's 2 houses between that entrance road and Lawn Avenue. 2 properties.
Yes. Looks like there's 2 properties.
That's correct.
I think there's 2 houses on them. We know one on each.
That's correct. That was number 5. Number 6, it talks about buffers, and a buffer required along Ridge Road. Steve, I believe you're asking for, is that a buffer along here, Steve?
I think, well, there and probably the properties that back up, the properties on Almont that you back up to.
Yep, okay.
Those are single family
Yeah.
homes.
Wherever single family touches townhouses,
Yeah.
right? Okay. we'll update the plan to show that. Number 7 is a PPL right away transverses the site, and approval from PPL is required. That is true. The difference in this from the previous project is that there's no overhead wires and there's no proposal ever to put overhead wires, but PPL also isn't willing to extinguish the right of way. So we do have to get PPL approval, and we'll work on that. Number 8 talks about resource protection and site capacity calculations. And phase 1 and phase 2 environmental reviews. So that those are will complies. Number 9 is stormwater management, and that would be at land development, and that would be a will comply. Number 10 is the sewer comment that I touched on with the issues with TBA serving the site. It's in TBA's water and sewer service area. They are bringing facilities to the location. There is, quite a bit of work administratively to be done to make it a reality. That's the same with comment number 11 is the water comment.
Is the water, now that you have that's new main that came in from North Penn, are they able to tap off of that, or is this gotta be something different?
I don't know what the plans are. Technically, can you tap off of it and put a meter pit in, and TVA could buy bulk water? Yes, it's feasible for them to do it. I don't know anything about any arrangement.
That's not how North Penn sold it.
No, correct. That's why I don't know what any arrangements are.
Right.
But is it feasible to do it? Sure.
All dreams come true.
Number 12 talks about our entrance from Ridge Road and how a full traffic impact study is going to be required. And we acknowledge that, and we would do that at land development. Number 13.
Wait, can we just say
Yep.
on number 12?
Yes.
I think what's important, just to call out, maybe obvious, I'm sure other people have thought of it. The site distance issue is improved with moving the entrance to this location. One of them, my concerns, and I had some discussions with our traffic consultant, is when improvements are made to the Ridge Road and Long Avenue intersection based on all these different developments in the area, that potentially impacts this intersection.
Right.
You end up with turn lanes or extended lanes there. Now this intersection is coming out right, potentially within turn lanes and transition areas. So it needs to be looked at, with an eye on those future intersection improvements as well as just.
Right.
I mean, even if there's a traffic circle, that's going to complicate trying to pull in or out of there significantly.
Yes, it would.
So agreed. And we are working on global traffic improvements. We have our consultant working on it. They've actually worked on it early in 2025. They've now looked at it again, looking at all of our projects. I don't want to talk about it too much because Steve has not seen it. Bowman, I don't think, has seen it. So we will be rolling that out for the consultants and staff to look at first. But I just want to let you know that we are working on that. Number 13 was a HOP required for both Lawn and Ridge, and we acknowledge that. And 14 is street improvements are required. And the same thing, I think everything is dictated by that Lawn and Ridge intersection. Number 15 is we must identify adjoining property owners when we go to land development. We will do that. Number 16 is we need a summary of our proposed development at land development. We will do that. Number 17 is discussion item again. That's recreational land, and the amount of 1,400 square feet per dwelling would be required. That would be 1.4 acres of recreational land. Recreational facilities, including one play field and one tot lot playground, are required to be developed on the site. So this site may be more conducive for that. 44 townhomes versus 28 singles. Maybe a tot lot is warranted here. So, again, we're open to that discussion. Number 18 is landscape plans at land development. Number 19 is NPDS, an erosion control plan is required. And number 20 states that any waivers need to be formally requested in written correspondence.
Do you have any waivers in mind at this point?
We're not there yet.
Gotcha.
Again, no engineering design has been done yet. Just a few rounds of sketch plans with a couple rounds of comments from Steve. And then we thought now was a good time to put it in front of the public just to let them know that this is our latest plan.
Okay. Any comments, you guys?
You know, right away, where is that?
Right here.
Oh, so it's, okay, it's behind the,
It's behind these sets of units, yes.
okay, thank you.
You said you have a walking path on this design?
We do. It's we're proposing sidewalks all throughout the frontage of the homes, looping around, and then coming back out here, and then looping around this open space, coming out. This plan shows out the lawn. We can add as well out to Ridge. So yes, we are proposing walking paths.
I didn't have much of a chance to look into it, but you're also showing that we'll call it a shared driveway now, the gravel road that goes behind the units parallel to Ridge Road
Mm-hmm.
and then comes out, I guess, at that one business, the repair shop. That's listed on here as it was service road number 2. I assume we have a few of those service roads where they were created when the bypass was installed. Have you looked into that? That whatever right of way was established there and whether or not that could be extinguished or how that's going to be addressed? I assume the properties along Ridge have some rights to using that road.
We did a full title survey and we did a full boundary and topo. So I'll reach out to my surveyor and find out. I do see some notes about it, but I didn't take notice of it very much before either, except that we were, one of the reasons come here tonight, them 2 properties, of course, we can tie them into that emergency access. I think they need to be, right? I think they get access back there now, I believe. So,
Yeah, there's a garage back there.
yeah. I'll contact my surveyor to find out about that question.
Thank you.
And all the stormwater, the drainage easements there in between all the buildings, that's the only stormwater management you have?
That's the thought. So right now we're showing an area here, an area here, and an area here. So three areas. If it ends up not working right or not being enough, we could always introduce underground detention beneath the road and alleys.
So that fills up, you just have the pond in front of the.
Yeah, well, yeah, correct. During storms, yes, but it's got to be designed, in order this type of design, probably like a max of 2 feet of water would be allowed to do.
Yeah, not a fan of that. Yeah, we've had some other, have similar that don't seem to work out real well. Yeah.
Mosquito breeders.
Yeah.
Mhm. If you have kids out there and you got a pond, then all of a sudden there's a fence around it, right? Yeah.
All right, any other comments from you guys?
Just to mirror what was said earlier, the one way in and out, I'm not a fan of as well. I mean, I'm sure that access road is, probably being considered, but at this stage, I present it as one way in and out, and I don't like it.
Yeah, prefer to see the properties face the public street too.
Well, they have to.
Outside, yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you're gonna have to redesign this whole thing. You're gonna have to have a road in front of your houses, and it's gonna cut into your stormwater easement stuff. Anyway, do you have any more comments, John? All right, I'm going to open up the public comment. Tim? Name and address, please.
Tim Snyder, Camp Rock Hill Road. Couple questions for you. Obviously, Steve, you know the difference between the zonings. How long is the entrance leg to the P loop? Do you know that?
No, I don't know that. No, man.
Well, you really should have that. How
300
long is the
feet,
P
give or
loop?
take, is what I calculate.
What's that?
300 feet plus or minus maybe 25 is what I calculate.
The entrance leg or the whole P loop?
Just the entrance leg.
300 feet?
I think if you look at the property line there, it looks like it's what, 290, something like that, 289. And I think there's like 50 feet in the ridge then. They bring my-
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
That's
Okay.
about right.
And how long's the P loop?
I don't know.
No
No
idea on
dimensions
that.
on here.
When did the township start being okay with private roads? Is this a commercial district or VC thing, or, because I know I was before the board many times and private roads were not acceptable. So they seem to be submitting all private roads. When did that become acceptable to the township? I'd like to know that, number one. And then 16-foot wide road. Now, I heard about the entrance legs. You know, a cul-de-sac at 1,700 feet with 13 people on it can have a tree fall down and block it. How many homes are in there? 40 some homes? And how is traffic going to get around a 16-foot P loop? You got two 8-foot trucks, you got two FedEx trucks, you're going to be driving on the lawn. With that many people, you don't need another emergency access. You don't need a second main entrance. Isn't that required in the code?
They do have an emergency access drive out the lawn.
Yeah, try to have 48 homes using that emergency access and fire trucks and everything else. Now, Steve, you can answer this in this zoning. I have a 28-foot wide road in my zoning in RC, and this is a higher density. Why would the township want a smaller road for higher density usage?
Well, first, the 26 is based on parking on one side, not parking on two sides requires a wider road. The road standard was included in the VC when it was proposed by the Bucks County Planning Commission as, how do I say it? As a package of village design standards, where in old village areas, they didn't necessarily have big boulevard style streets. It was a look, a design look. I don't have another, answer for you, but that's what the standard was for this section.
Okay, townships used to have this township used to have 26 foot in RC with parking on one side. They changed that and went to 28 foot without and no parking on either side. According to the zoning that I know of. We went wider road and less parking. But here in this district, we went smaller roads. We allowed smaller roads for a lot more density. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But again, how about the P loop being 16 foot wide? How is that even possible? Why would anybody even submit a plan for that? Maybe I should be talking.
Yeah, I can't answer that question. We call that.
Ask them.
What is the purpose of that?
The purpose of this is to try to meet the intent of the ordinance to have rear loaded alleys and rear loaded garages. That is the purpose.
The intent of the road is to reduce your stormwater from 16 foot to, if you had to make that road 26 foot wide, you'd lose a lot of lots because your impervious surface calculations would go through the roof. You know it and I know it.
Well, we're not even there yet.
Well, I get all that.
We're not
I get all
even
that,
there yet,
but
Tim.
bring something that at least meets the zoning. What?
Anyway, no need to prolong that. I can't explain one other thing, and I guess I didn't really make clear. The other concept, and this is what we were talking about with
with units fronting on a street. The other concept in the village zoning, which I think the planning commission, Bucks County Planning Commission was shooting for, was public streets in front of the units, garages in the rear with alleys, which was another reason for the narrower street and have parking on the street, because you would have alleys with parking and garages in the rear. It was a package of design standards. This doesn't, that's what we called out, is this doesn't seem to meet our street standards or the design standards for the VC. If you had the typical grid layout of streets, I think like you're in Percy, downtown Percy. We have public streets.
Yeah.
They have no garages in the front. They have alleys and garages and access in the rear.
Yeah.
That's the, the ideal design concept in the village area.
But the reality is with something like this, one road access, even with an emergency access, is actually way too low. Would you agree or not? Well, I guess you don't have to agree, but
Yeah.
the reality is
I-
they need another access.
I think the planning commission
full
already
size.
alluded to that
Okay.
earlier.
All right.
Thank you. Ross, Dave?
According to this picture, so this is the one, so the access you're talking about here is like right on top of lawn. So how far is that? 30 foot? Dave Rice, 219 Augustine.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How far is that from lawn? The entrance, the exit, or the sole entrance?
They just did 251 or something.
All right, so so when that backs up, because
That's the site. That's not from the
the
intersection.
line of sight's different
So the
than,
intersection's like 270 or something, but they're calculating the line of sight past the intersection at Long Ave.
which would be at
So
Fasagios.
you're, no, the other way. So
Here,
that's one
this way.
question I had too, is on your traffic study, which was included here. It talks about the minimum stopping distance. And it says, 371 or something, I need like that. Yeah, minimum safe stopping to the 371 feet from the south, 357 feet from the north. But yet the intersection, the road comes out 280 feet south. So you're calculating, looking through the intersection for your minimum safe stopping distance. But if somebody comes through the intersection at Lawn Avenue and makes a left, head south on Ridge Road, you only have 250 feet that they would be able to see. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I'm not sure if that's accurate.
Well, I mean, it's what your numbers are here.
Engineer, because it is your stop, your distance until you see it.
But I'm just saying they come flying through the intersection
They absolutely do.
and you're pulling out of the development, making a left, heading south, and they're flying through the intersection this way. You only have 200.
This is just a sketch plan. We're a long
Yeah,
way from
I'm
fully engineered.
understood.
plan.
I'm just saying that doesn't add up. I mean, the fact that you can see past the intersection doesn't calculate for somebody coming through the intersection at a
Yeah,
higher
PennDOT
rate.
hasn't even begun their scrutiny of this whole.
Okay.
This is very preliminary.
Yeah, it's just, they didn't add up. So that was one thing I'd seen.
I guess that was my concern, because you already have a line of sight problem at Fasagios, and then you're gonna create another one coming the other direction. So we already had fatalities at Fasagios pulling out of there, coming that direction, that blind side, and you're coming this way at 45, 50 miles an hour. They're probably going at least how many trucks and cars have already been in the ditch as you cross over Lawn Avenue, coming to Fasagios on that right-hand side. So we already have an issue with congestion, let alone when it backs up 5 cars deep and then you're trying to pull out, you go the other direction towards Tylersport. It's just a mess. And then the access road that's over here, you only have about 3-4 car lengths with the access road on the backside before you actually touch that. And if you put a turning lane in there to go on 309 south, you'd have to jump 2 lanes to get across if you're going 309 north. So you'd have to live here to know that and understand that. And so I do. So that's why I'm saying these are concerns that you would want to know. So you'd want to talk to people and have an actual plan. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Just a couple quick questions. Joanne Natali, 113 Ridge Valley Road. I'm curious what the timeline on all these developments is. I know it's can go on forever, but what is your timeline with this happening? When do you expect
Takes
this?
a while to go through the approval process with the municipality and outside agencies. So we just, we're starting this project for this initial sketch plan, and it takes a while to go through that process.
What's a while? 10 years? I think where I bought recently, 6 years ago, it was a 10-year plan. Are we looking at something like that again?
We hope not, but we don't know.
Okay,
Hope it'll be 18 months.
18 months. Okay. Everybody's talking about traffic study, which obviously we need. Traffic is already bad. Ridge Road, Lawn Avenue. I live on Ridge Valley. Pulling out there is horrendous in the morning. So what is a traffic study actually going to do other than tell us it's only going to get worse? What can we really do? Like someone said a circle. I don't know. I'd love to know what it really accomplishes. I think that really needs to be looked at with all this stuff going on. So just my comments.
Anyone else? Brian?
Brian Landis, Augustine Road. One question I had is, was there a wetlands study done for this? Because I don't know if anybody knows what a hydrophytic plant is, but if you go in the back and you take your little camera and you can scan a leaf and it tells you that area back there has a lot of things that like to grow in very wet environments. And I don't think that we're aware that that is as wet as it is back there. Secondly, I've been to these meetings now for a while and I keep hearing the same two things come up. And until we get these, I kind of feel bad for you guys that we keep having this on the agenda, but until Select presents us with a plan for tying everything together, and until we bang out what we can really do in Region 2 until Region 1 is served, I just feel like we're spinning our wheels and kind of wasting a lot of time, or the assumption is that's going to happen. But it is my understanding that until Region 1 is served, and the last time I checked with Kathy, is she here? There was one house on County Line being served out of the 49 in West Rock Hill. And until that's served, not available, but served, I don't see how they're going to do anything in this area with public water and sewer. Also, in looking at the pictures, it looks like these buildings are 3 stories high, and it seems like that might be higher than what our ordinance allows. And I thought I saw in the ordinances today that if any development over 13 housing units, you need 2 exits and entrances, which I know PennDOT's going to address. But I live right at Augustine, and I can tell you now, dump trucks, there's 7,200 cars that come by. It's just more of an overall safety concern. If there's an entrance where they propose, that's just not an area to get in and out of. Somebody's going to die. I mean, it's a matter, unless we slow that area down to 25, which might come out in the traffic study. And also I talked to an elderly gentleman the other day, and he told me once that he, as a kid, worked in a brick plant that was there. And bricks are full of heavy metals back then. And I was just wondering if it was worth us considering doing an environmental study, just to make sure that kids aren't playing in a tot lot that's built on top of a Superfund site. So just something to be a heads up about. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Bill Knowles, 6 Augustine.
You know that there was a fatal accident coming out of Passaggio's, and that building is one of the original buildings around here. Almont was named from it, right?
The old Almont Inn.
Can we, if this does go through and there's no new roads, I know it's special treatment, but I think that building deserves special treatment. Maybe this could be connected to the roads. People leaving could maybe pick a more safe way out.
Maybe, do those deals where you waive this or that. Maybe let something like that through. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you. Anyone else? In the back.
Joanne Mann, 708 Ridge Road. I live next to where they are proposing, I guess, the exit. And I can tell you, I have trouble every day getting out of my driveway. And I try to go left. It's like taking my life into my hands. You're not gonna be able to see any better there than you will down at Passagios because the traffic is just, something has to be addressed with that if they're gonna be building all these buildings. I know it's repeat all the time, but it's really dangerous. I was out at my mailbox the other week, a tractor trailer, tanker truck. I could hear him coming. I looked at the light and it was yellow. And I looked over at him and I knew he wasn't going to be able to stop. And he was to be going like 50 miles an hour through the intersection when it was a red light. So I was there. I've been in the town for 45 years. And I've already had one person killed at my intersection too, many years before the light. So it's just not getting any better. So.
Understood. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Freak again, Lawn Avenue on the other side of Ridge. Mr. Landis, I think I didn't hear an answer. He had asked about wetlands. Had there been a presence absence done or anything preliminary on the property?
Wetlands, yes.
Oh, no, you did.
Yeah,
You
yes,
did.
we did,
They
yes.
did a full study?
Yes.
And, okay, you have that, how much
We'll get
wetlands
with the
was there?
preliminary- when we make the
Okay.
preliminary
Yes.
submission.
As far as your holding water, your storm water, you just went off a general soil type map to determine
Haven't
size
got
thing,
that.
not even that far?
Yeah.
Okay. Already going west of here on Lawn Avenue, anyone who lives on Lawn knows when it rains, I'm not talking 100-year storm, when it rains, our driveways blow over. There's nothing they can do. You know, wider ditch, increase the right of way. It's a mess. And, you know, for nothing, but the cartway of Lawn Avenue is not centered in the right of way. It hugs the north side. And your surveyor should have picked, I'm sure he picked up on it, because we did the same thing. And then, okay, you haven't done PennDOT. They're giving you input yet? Because as everyone said, this is a mess through here. And the Passagios thing, everyone in Rock Hill and everywhere knows when you pull right out of Passagios, you better be on your toes. If you're pulling out left, just don't pull out left. And the comment of driving down through here and coming up a safer way, that's ludicrous. There's nothing safer about it. Now you're gonna turn left. So also intersection wise, any improvement, any turn lanes down Lawn Avenue, we eat the water. That's the way it goes. We have this wonderful facility, Bucks County Clay, which is sheet flow. Nothing goes in the ground. Anyone in this area, in this soil type, you can't put an in-ground septic. You have to put a sand mound. Many barely perk for a sand mound. Even us, when we did it, I went up 50% oversized. It's the dirt's tough, so I'm just concerned anything with our way and there's nowhere to put it. They've been dealing with this ditch along Ridge forever. If anybody's ever seen a truck go off the road there, dump a load of gravel, I mean, it's tough. As far as widening, again, the effect of widening is just, we have no stormwater up here. It goes where it goes. There's no inlets. There's nothing, you know, by that design. Anyway, I was mostly curious about the wetlands and soils. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Seeing no one else. So you're just looking for some input tonight? on this
That's
project?
all. We thank you for your time and we got feedback that we're looking for and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. All right.
What's my agenda?
All right.
Act it up.
Yeah.
We're not done. No, I'm waiting for the crowd to settle down so we can move forward here. Have a good night.
Right.
All right, moving forward, old business. I have no old business. Anyone else? Steve,
No.
you got anything? No. All right, new business. I have no new business.
None for me.
Steve, what's in the pipeline?
I think we've seen it all right now.
Oh my gosh.
There's been no major submissions recently.
Okay.
I think we have enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right, well, we'll move on to public comment. Any further public comment?
This is more fun than anything.
Oh, good.
We like fun.
Like Brian Lanus, Augustine Road. So one of the things, it kind of ties into the safety. And I'll bring this up with Board of Supervisors, but for the life of me, I cannot figure out why we do not do more to slow traffic down on Ridge Road, especially with a school, a park. We do have the ability to take it to 25 miles an hour. I talked to the state because when the plows took all our signs down, it was back and forth of, well, that's the state. And the state said, no, if it's 35 and down, it's you. And they said, by the way, you can drop it to 25. But instead of addressing the safety, and if anybody wants to guess, between Lawn Avenue Almont and County Line, has everybody noticed the neon signs that have been erected? Does anybody want to take a guess how many there are? 170. And all I can say is that doesn't count. Sorry, this is what I do when I drive.
Just say, it must be nice to be retired. Drive around counting signs now.
Exactly. I had to go twice. But you know, we all talk about our bucolic environment here, and between the detour signs and those signs, I mean, it borderlines obnoxious, but frankly, you can go faster now. So instead of slowing down, you know where the curves are and you can crank it from 60 to 70. So anyway, it was just some levity, but I don't, that's a PennDOT decision that they did that, or that has
I have
nothing
no
to do?
idea.
Yeah, Ridge Valley through the S turn, not to, but there's 30 in there.
All the way down.
Oh, okay. But anyway, I just thought that was entertaining, but
That was
anyway.
entertaining. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Also, I'll second.
On favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Appreciate you all coming out.